fought, my first fight was on ESPN Deportes that finally aired at like 2 a.m. after like a couple girls' high school softball games type of deal, you know?
Right.
Like that was our slot. And then it moved to MTV2 and then Spike and now Paramount Network, and now it was simulcasted now on CMT and Paramount Network. So it's cool to see the growth. It's cool to see, I mean, it's growing, you know? And it's been cool to be a part of the growth. I mean, I will forever probably be in the biggest fights or the most exciting fights in Bellator history, you know? So it's
I'm not a Bellator hater by any stretch of the imagination. And even though obviously I've been working for the UFC for a long time, I'm a fan of fights. Yeah. And I like high level fights. Obviously I'm loyal to the UFC, but I don't want Bellator to fail. I want them to succeed. I like the fact that they have Rory McDonald. So there's an argument. Yeah. Like you look at it, you go, hey, this might be the best 170-pound fighter in the world, and he's not in the UFC. Yeah. Like this is all good. I felt like the same way when Fedor was fighting in Pride. I was like, look, that might be the best fucking heavyweight on the planet Earth, and he's not here. And I tried very hard to try to figure out a way to get him over there, but they were super unreasonable back then. Yeah. Not the UFC, Fedor's management. They were crazy unreasonable. They wanted co-promotion. They wanted a 50-50 split. The UFC was like, get the fuck out of here. They were like, this ain't happening, man. And they were also saying, look, this guy is one loss away from losing all of his value. You have to understand this. Yeah. And then when Fabricio Verdum caught him with that triangle, the UFC was like, we fucking told you. We told you. And then Bigfoot Silva smashed him. And then Dan Henderson KO'd him. And the UFC was like, look, we fucking told you. Yeah. You had an opportunity to bring him over here. And that was, you know, it was a different time. It was when Fedor was in his prime. You know, it was when, you know, Fedor was smashing people in Pride. It was just a different human being than what you're seeing today at 41. But I'm a fan of the best fighters in the world getting together, and whatever we have to do to facilitate that, that's what I want to see happen. You know, I mean, I just think that there's got to be a way to make this happen. There's got to be a way.
What are you talking about here?
You motherfucker.
Hey man, I mean, I'm going day by day. You know, right. I'm enjoying the process. I mean, we're in talks right now. Things are going smoothly. Things are moving forward. We'll see what happens. I mean,
I know you have to say all this. I know you have to say all this.
They are. No, I mean, that is true. I mean,
right. But you want to fight the best guys in the world. I know you do.
Oh, there's not a day that goes by that I don't get. I mean, shoot, you posted that thing this morning, and there was 287 likes and 30 or comments in 5 minutes, and it was all like, finally, hey, when are you gonna come? When are you, you know, it's like, I get that every single day. So there's not a day that goes by that I don't, it doesn't get talked about or thought about. But I mean,
well, especially after Eddie went over there and became the champion, right? And everybody knows about. I mean, that's one of the things that I talked about when Eddie first came over to the UFC was I was telling people, go watch the wars that he had with Michael Chandler. And then I've said that also, too, when I've seen you coaching people or being in someone's corner. I'm like, that right there is one of the best lightweights on the planet. Yeah. And I just really would love to see you. I mean, I don't want to undercut Bellator. I don't want Bellator to, you know.
No, I mean, it's at the end of the day, I mean, it's a competition between the two organizations. There's guys in both organizations that are great, like you said, Lima and all these guys.
And Koreshkov.
And Koreshkov. You know? I mean, there's, and the Pitbull brothers or whatever. I mean, there's some great talent in both. And you saw it back in the day with Strikeforce, and now all of a sudden a lot of these Strikeforce guys are, UFC champions as well, So
well,
it's kind of
just
interesting
weird the way fighting is today as opposed to the way boxing is. Like a perfect example is like the Gennady Golovkin fight this weekend. We went to see him, and you're basically going to see one of the best boxers on the planet. You're not going to see him because he's the fucking WBC guy or the IBF guy or the WBO guy. Yeah. People don't really give a shit about that. He's a world champion. But but it's versus Bellator versus the UFC, it's a big difference in the way people look at it. Like the average public. The people don't give a shit if you're the WBA champion in boxing or the WBC champion. They don't give a shit. They just want to know who's a bad motherfucker. Like, is it Deontay Wilder? Is it Anthony Joshua? These are heavyweight champions. Let's see them fight. They don't look at it that way when it comes to Bellator and the UFC. I don't know why. I have my speculations, first of all, because the UFC's been around forever, and it's like the NFL. It has that name value, like Q-tips and
they've
Kleenex.
done a good they've done a good job of building the name value as well. You know,
it's also a really good name.
Yeah.
UFC is a great name. Yeah. Bellator is a shitty name. It just is. It's just, you know, you go to the average person, like, oh, I'm going to watch Bellator tonight. They're like, the fuck is a Bellator? Yeah. They don't know what a Bellator is. But Ultimate Fighting Championship makes sense.
Makes sense,
you know?
Yeah.
Why don't they just call it Paramount MMA?
I think, I think there was all kinds of new branding going on with the whole new Paramount stuff and all that kind of stuff. I mean, if there was ever a time, it would have been now. But I mean, I think they're stuck to it. They like it. I mean, it's kind of one of them things.
They should get their money back from Spike Lee. Remember when they had to pay Spike Lee?
Did they?
Yeah, they paid him off. Yeah, because he
trademarked
sued
Spike?
them. No, he sued them. He said that you stole the name from me, and they were like, "What the fuck?" It's basically just one of those frivolous lawsuits that you have to settle.
Like, fine,
Spike wanted some
take this money. Take this money. Yeah.
I wonder how much they gave him. How much do you think they gave him? Let's take a guess. How much do you think they gave Spike Lee?
$3.2 million.
Really, that much?
No, I don't know. I made that up.
$1 million? You think they gave him $1 million?
Maybe. Yeah.
I bet they gave him $1 million. I bet you're right. I'm gonna go with 1.2. I'm gonna be in the middle. I'm gonna be the middle guy. Let's see how much they got.
Spike Lee.
Do you think they disclosed it?
You think? Yeah. Did he like actually trademark Spike TV? Like someday he might actually have his own TV channel type of deal.
I think his thought was, well, what about Spike Jones? Is he like, where's my fucking money?
Yeah.
I think he just felt like his name was like the name Spike was synonymous with him. I don't know.
No.
Well, Spike was a dog, right? Wasn't that
Spike
like the logo?
Oh, yeah, Spike was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, because the UFC the Ultimate Fighter was on Spike TV. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, 2005.
2005.
Stephen Bonner and Forrest Griffin.
Yeah.
Forever in debt to those guys. They made the sport, that one crazy fight literally was like probably one of the big pushes to make this fight.
Undisclosed.
Undisclosed
amount.
Holla at me, Spike. Tell me what you got.
Let us know. Let us know, Spike.
A joint public statement that they settled their differences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Via Greenback.
Yeah, a lot of people are mad at Spike for that. Spike Lee.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And when he tripped that referee. I actually don't know if he did.
He tripped a referee?
I don't know. It was in the Jay-Z song. Remember that one?
What are you talking about?
I have never even saw it.
Spike Lee tripped a referee?
Yeah, he's known of being in the NBA, like a lot of Knicks games.
Yeah?
So
he tripped a referee?
Supposedly.
Well, that's
On
what
purpose?
Jay-Z said. He said, I'm spiked out. I could trip a referee. And I'm like, Spike Lee must have tripped a referee one time. Because he is always courtside at the Knicks.
Is there video of this?
I think he's saying it because he sits courtside. I don't think it actually happened.
Oh, one of those
see?
things.
Yeah.
One of those things. One of those things.
I could trip a referee.
Yeah, but isn't that weird? Like the basketball, like you can get like right up to the action.
Oh, so close.
You could literally get.
You could trip a referee.
Yeah.
Whereas football, you're
pretty far
15
back.
feet,
Yeah.
20 feet, 50 feet.
I mean, I've talked about this so many times, people get angry at me. But what would you think about the idea of fighting in a big open area without a cage? Like a big open area,
no cage?
like a basketball ring.
Yeah.
I mean, a basketball arena, like a basketball court, like that size. If you had, like wrestling has, where you have boundary lines.
Yeah. Could you actually go out of those boundary lines and they'll stop the action?
Well, they'd have to bring you back in. There'd have to be some reason.
So it would be like like the Coliseum. 'Cause
Exactly.
It'd be so big that there almost are no barriers.
Well, yeah, because I think that there's something about a cage that presents an artificial boundary, and that artificial boundary can be used both to contain someone and to get out, to get up. Like you could obviously wall walk and get up out. I just think it makes takedowns much more difficult when there's not a cage, because you know you're not going to press someone against a cage and just scoop their legs out from under them. You have to get a legitimate takedown, like an open area takedown, and it makes getting up much more difficult.
Yeah.
When someone does take you down,
smashing up against the cage.
You can't just scoot your back up to the wall and get back up. You're going to have to figure out a way to actually get up.
Well, that was one of the things too. I mean, going back to being a wrestler. I mean, wrestlers coming in should not just expect that they're going to be able to take guys down and not get taken down. I used to get taken down all the time off the cage, and I'm like, man, I'm a Division I wrestler. Why am I getting taken down? But it is completely different. I mean, obviously, I know a lot about maneuvering the body and scrambling out and all that kind of stuff, but adding the cage wall is a lot different, So,
yeah. When you first started training, did you immediately start training in a cage?
I think at Extreme Couture, there was a cage. So we would spar in a cage. But now I don't really spar in a cage anymore.
You don't?
Not really.
How come?
I don't know. I mean, down in Florida, we don't have one, and we just spar in the open. There's cage walls You know, there's cage walls that, like, if you're in training camp, you know, if you got a fight coming up soon, you'll spar in this certain area where they might put some tie pads on the floor, like, don't go past this, and then there's your other barrier type of deal.
Right.
My gym, we don't have a cage. We just have a cage wall and then a padded wall too.
So the cage wall, just so to work on wall walks and things like that. You get chewed up on those fucking things too.
Yeah, that's why I like to use the padded wall, you know. And I mean, the only difference is there's a little bit of a give
to the cage wall.
A little bit of a give to the cage wall. There's not on the padded wall. But man, if you're not wearing gloves, if your elbow, I mean, I've busted a bursa sac in my elbow before, and it just takes a week to heal.
Yeah,
you know, or you look at your back in the mirror and it just looks like a bunch of hickeys all over your back.
Your head can get ripped apart. Your
people
ears
get cut open.
Yep.
You know, like I've actually gotten cut open, like nicked just a little bitty one on my in a fight. Yeah, by just hitting the cage because it's metal. You know, it's not.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I think is a legacy idea. I just don't. It's hard to see too when you're in the audience and you're looking at it. Like there's often those pillars get in the way.
Yeah,
you know,
it'd be cool if there was just a single cage that didn't have to be bolted together. Therefore, there was no
posts.
No posts. But then again,
right?
You know,
you'd have to have a top post, right?
You'd have to have a top post and a bottom post, and then the cage would have to be so rigid that it held everything together.
Yeah, how the fuck would you do that?
It would be almost impossible because maybe
you
two
lower them in.
Yeah, or maybe it's two pieces. Exactly. The guys just stand there and then they just get locked in and then big.
There's no doors.
Spartans just like lock this thing down and.
Yeah, there's like elevators.
That was like the big UFC, you know, back in the day. What was it? Art Davie.
Yeah.
When they started talking about all the ideas where they were talking about putting a moat around the cage and sharks and alligators and like we're really going to do this thing big.
Oh, that's
everyone's
going
to love it.
Well, Art Davie's the same guy that brought us X arm wrestling or whatever the fuck it was.
Oh yeah.
The arm, you know what it is? They tied your arms together and you beat the shit out of each other.
Really?
Yeah.
Like the Michael Jackson bad video.
No, they had a MMA arm wrestling event.
Oh, it was actually MMA.
Yeah, where you literally tied the guy's arm together. So you were in an arm wrestling situation.
You sit down and
punch. They taped your arms together, and then you were punching each other and kicking each other, and guys were throwing arm bars. Yeah, with the arm wrestling podium in front of you. Here it is, X arm.
Oh my gosh, I have no idea how you find these things so quickly.
It was so because we made fun of this like a week ago. It was so fucking stupid. Look, so they taped their arms together, and these guys. First of all, don't ever throw that kick again. Yeah. But look at this. Look at this. Guy's got an arm bar.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, which is crazy because your arm can get fucking snapped.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a table that you're doing an arm bar over. You don't even have time to tap, and they can't separate you once you do tap. Look at this head kick.
Oh no.
Look at how crazy that is. They're stopping the fight, but even if they stop the fight,
pin his arm.
So you could win by getting an arm, or knock him out. It's so stupid. This is one of the dumbest ideas that humans have ever come up with.
Oh, man.
Look at this.
That dude's, but it's entertaining. I would watch it.
I guess.
I would watch it. It's a horrible idea.
I'm watching it right now, so I'm talking shit.
I would watch it.
But look at
if that was on tonight, I'm watching it 100%.
But the arms are taped together, which is just crazy.
I love how the ref comes out and does the tape job too while everyone's watching.
And you're
part of that guy's out
cold, hanging off.
And then
the
it's
edge.
Awesome. And then you're connected to him. You should just like run and start dragging him around.
Well, it's so dangerous
show your
too.
kill.
It was such a dumb idea.
Yeah, I mean,
but see it.
What was that like? Was that online? Was that pay-per-view? What was that? How was that?
I don't know. It's one of those things that it just existed for a while.
It happened for a second.
Yeah, it happened for a little bit.
Dudes got knocked out, and they're like, okay. Was there a commission? Do you have to have a commission for this?
Nah, they probably did that on some fucking island somewhere.
Exactly, right? That sounds good.
International waters on a boat or something like that. I mean, I have no idea how they got away with that thing. It's just so stupid.
That was Art Davie, huh?
Yeah. I believe so.
Didn't he just get inducted to the Hall of Fame?
Yes, I did. Yes, he did, rather. Wasn't there, Frank Shamrock had a good idea where they were doing one in like, it was like a pit.
Okay.
Sort of a thing.
Which would be cool because you couldn't really climb out.
Yeah. And I know they have something similar to that now with this karate thing that Boss Rutan is involved with.
Is that in Florida?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, in Miami.
Luke Rockhold has gone to a couple live events, I think.
Yeah, they're doing that now where they take like real high-level karate guys and they wear MMA gloves and I think they're allowed.
Padded like kind of walls type of deal.
Yeah, well, it's like a slanted area where you hit the barrier. And it's weird. Like you can punch a little bit on the ground. It's very strange.
Yeah.
Like Boss had it in, you're allowed to punch on the ground for 5 seconds. Like you could take a guy down and you could punch him on the ground for 5 seconds
and you have to
and then
stand
stop. Yeah, which is like, oh, okay.
It's like, man, let him beat his face in. Come on, man.
Well, it's like this idea needs a little bit of work.
Yeah.
Needs a little bit of.
So you think it's going to make it, or you think they got
The Boss Rutan thing?
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully. I think the more stuff we can have, the better. But I just think they need to iron out the rules. Like, I love Glory. I love kickboxing.
Yeah.
I loved Lion Fight when it was on, but I think now it's only online or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to find good, high-level Muay Thai, good high-level striking that's not just boxing. You know, it's really hard to find.
Well, exactly. Well, and that's why you've seen all these organizations come and go, or these, kind of crazy ideas. Nothing is sticking, in a lot of instances. But so that's why it's cool to see the growth of MMA, and that's why it's a cool time to be a part of this, this generation of MMA as MMA grows. And like you talked about, asking about myself, I mean, you're seeing all kinds of guys having success with karate style and like kind of on your toes bouncing kickboxing style, a point kickboxing style. And you're seeing a lot of people come in because it's cool, it's flashy, the fans love it, the promoters love it.
Like Michael Page,
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, he's a perfect example of a guy who was a real high-level point karate fighter who's now a real tough puzzle to solve in MMA.
Yeah.
Who is he fighting next? He's fighting 170, right?
He's fighting 170. I don't think he has a Bellator. I don't think he has an MMA fight scheduled. I know he had a fight in October, but that was...
He had a boxing match.
Yeah.
That was October. And he won by KO.
Months ago, yeah.
It was a long time ago.
May.
And I know they were trying to set up a fight with him and Paul Daly, which would be fucking chaos.
Yeah.
But Paul Daly was just saying something. I read an article. I just read the headline that said, Bellator thinks I'm a fool and I ain't one.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
Paul Daly, Paul Daly was not very happy for a second. That's why I was very interested, or I was surprised to see him. He just signed to fight? Who's he fighting?
I don't know, because I read this.
He's
headline,
fighting someone in London.
I believe it was yesterday.
See, he
find out who it says. Paul Daly.
John Fitch.
Oh, John Fitch. That's right. He's coming back to fight. Or John Fitch is coming back.
That's a terrible fight for him, though.
Yeah.
John Fitch is all wrestler.
Have they fought yet?
Ready to fight John Fitch? I don't think
they never
did.
Fought in Strikeforce days?
I don't believe they did. Coming off impressive second-round knockout of fellow UFC veteran Lorenz Larkin. So he's been out for a while too, because that fight with Lorenz, I want to say, was 6 months ago plus.
That was on my card in September.
September?
Never mind.
Yeah,
that
September.
But yeah, I know he came out. He wasn't very happy about some stuff.
So that was 8 months since his last fight. So is that what he's upset about? That he hasn't gotten a fight in a long time?
No, I mean, I think it's like you said. Bellator thinks I'm a fool. Blah blah blah. He basically said he was walking. There you go.
Yeah, Bellator is playing me for an idiot, and I ain't an idiot.
You ain't an idiot. I ain't an idiot.
When you say that with his British accent, it's even better.
Bellator.
Yeah, but that's interesting.
I ain't happy with what you guys are doing.
Finally, a fight that makes sense. Hold on, scroll back up. What is he saying? Bellator wanted him to fight John Fitch at Bellator 199 this Saturday. One thing went through his mind. I thought, finally, a fight that makes sense. Daly said, in case you couldn't tell. I've had great times at Bellator. Okay, so they're just taking a quote out of context and making it the title, which is what they always do, right?
Yeah.
They're playing me for an idiot and an idiot. Just be done with all the bullshit. Let me fight. I love how they bull expletive. Just write bullshit, you fucking pussies. Let me fight. Let me go. Or you treat me like you want me to be here. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good fight, though. Yeah. The John Fitch fight's a good fight because striking-wise, obviously, he has a giant advantage. But Fitch has been around a long time. He knows his shit, and he's a fucking brutal wrestler.
And this is Fitch's first fight in Bellator.
Yeah.
Just came over from Pro Fight League.
Mm-hmm.
Or is that where he was last? Yeah.
Well, were they calling it World Series of Fighting
it was
then?
World Series back then, yeah.
And Fitch fought Paul Jarez